Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me, Mike Leopard, King Mike L. This is Legit Paranormal, brought to you by LegitPodcast.com. It is June 9th. Well, July 9th. I don't know why I would look at July and say June. I do know why. July 9th, 2023. Let's see. Let's do all we can do really is 9 minus 7 would be 2. And then, Christopher, I don't know. I can't do it. I hate the year. Sorry, math geeks. Joining me as always, Buddy Money Thayer. What's up, buddy? Are you all right?
Yeah. But I got to shake off the cobwebs from the Commodore 64 and the Atari AOL web connection. It dialed up a little bit earlier, but it's been running kind of like. So
try unplugging it and blowing in it, like the old Sega Genesis. You know,
my friend just did.
Yeah, it worked better that way. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Mike.
You look fantastic, by the way. How are the loons?
The loons are beautiful. They were flying in earlier, and I put Ginny Page down, my 8-month-year-old chocolate lab, and while I was tending to the loons, Ginny managed to get into my pulled pork and eat more than half of it. So Ginny had a good dinner, and
Jenny's gonna have something else coming up on you, my friend. Jenny's gonna have herself a good little dog time. Buddy, before you get into your beverage, which make quick, Sin Shrader Hill, author.
Hey.
How are we, Sin?
Great. How are you guys?
Oh boy, I'm good.
Keeping on a little bit, but I'm okay.
I'm really good, actually. Buddy is he's blink. He's coming in and out so far. So the little Max Headroomish again.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, in case he does anything funky, his head freezes.
Yeah.
Buddy, do you want to do a beer really quick? Or no?
Oh, Mike, like our guest this evening, my beer comes to us also from the lovely and charming state of Rhode Island.
Okay.
She is a robust girl. She's hold on a second. Let me give you an easier introduction. My beer for.
Well, there you go.
For her
what
full
is
body
going on?
She's brewed with mosaic hops. She's brewed in Westerly, Rhode Island. And she's been my beer of the week several times. My girl, your brother Ray's girl, Captain's Dada. A wonderful and splendid beverage made by our friends at Gray Sail Brewing in Westerly, Rhode Island. Big cheers to them and all that they do for beer enthusiasts like myself.
Okay, fantastic. I'll review what you just said in a minute. I'm going to let it go for a second. I'm going to wait to bring on the guest. But, buddy, before you introduce the guest, right? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You froze. Look at that way he froze. Look at the picture. Buddy, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah. Listen to me. La chu, la che, la cheddar, la cheddar, la chu.
Don't start screwing me up. I had the name down.
Go better at the two. You hear it? Introduce our guest. Let's see if he comes back.
All right, ready?
Go ahead.
Our guest tonight, while I'm still moving, she's from La Chatenoia. Oh, Jesus. La Chatenoia. Fuck you, Buck. She's from La Chatenoia Tarot. No, I fucked it up again. She's a hell of a tarot card reader. She has her office. She'll tell you exactly what the name of it is because I clearly cannot. Her name is Sarah.
Oh.
Sarah.
Yeah. She joins us tonight live in studio. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God.
That was painful.
Sarah, that was one of the worst introductions he's ever done. It was.
So is it the best?
No, it was. Like, listen, I set him up though. I did set him up right there. But you know why I did that? He said, and I'm gonna clip this. I'm pretty sure, buddy, you said like the beer, like our guest. And then you paused and said, she's a robust girl. Did you hear that, Sarah?
I did. And I was like,
what the frig is that comparison for? I was like, what are you, nuts?
Because our guest is robust in her talent.
No.
Okay.
There's not a woman alive that wants. No.
Or was that lost in translation? I think, Mike. I don't know.
How does he not know? How do you think, Sarah? Come on, you're a medium. How does he not know?
So, the joke is I'm a medium, right? People say, "Oh, you're a medium." I'm more of a large nowadays, so I'll take robust and I'll stick it in my pocket. So, no harm, no foul there.
All right, but you had to be a little caught off guard when you heard.
I was like, that's not exactly the word that I would use to describe.
Robust. All right.
Robust.
Okay. All right. So
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Full flavored.
Flavored.
That's even worse. I'm sorry. Oh God.
Now you're going down a different road. No,
By the way, Buddy's just turning
cut
bright red.
Cut
Listen to me,
it
he's
out.
turning bright
Yeah.
red. So, Sarah, this is Sin. Sin, this is Sarah.
Hi.
Sarah. Hey.
No.
Nice to meet ya.
Nice to meet you and have you on here.
So, Sarah, the first thing I would want to ask you is, what is it that you do? Like, how do you explain?
Yep, that's right. I am a psychic medium and tarot reader. So I'm an intuitive tarot reader. So not only do I know the meanings of the cards in the sense of what their textbook meanings are, I can also kind of infer what's going to happen or what's kind of transpiring within your life as I look at these cards. So an intuitive reader is going to be like, okay, well, this card means this in a textbook variety, but for you in this moment, this is what I feel like it means. So that's what that kind of looks like, as well as the mediumship side.
Mhm.
So the more that I would tap into somebody's energy in order to read them, the easier it would be for me to connect with loved ones, guides, anybody that you could possibly, pets that you could possibly think of on the other side that have crossed over and have a message for that person. So that's the mediumship side of it. Again, more of a large nowadays, but am I a medium at large? I don't know.
Oh,
That's twice on the joke so far. If you can use it 3 more times, it gets we'll get a star. So I have a question.
You got
It's a bit of a dumb one, but then again, so now when people buy tarot cards, and they have different themes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now on the card itself, are
Yeah.
they represented with different pictures and different extras? Because like in other words, a card reader will look at a card and they'll be like, da da da, and then they'll point to the roses. They don't really say dot dot dot. They use words. They'll point to the roses and say like, oh, and those are a symbol of something. Like they'll use what else is on the card to talk. So I'm thinking, different themes. Do different cards look completely different on different decks with different surroundings?
Yes, you are correct in saying that. So as part of the intuitive part of tarot reading is that, let's say my grandmother grew roses, and that card to me represents something about that time in my life that I recognize about my grandmother's house or where the roses were. And so that's exactly what I'm going to think of when I look at that card. And I think that your question is kind of 2 parts, because yes, there are decks that are very straightforward. This is, not a lot of flowery stuff. There's not a lot of fluff in them. They're just kind of very visual to what that it needs to be, which is great. But at the same time, there are the other decks. It just depends on who you are and what you kind of align yourself with. I would say that decks are like shoes. We all have that one comfy pair of shoes that we're going to grab and we're going to put on and we're going to use, and they work and they get you from point A to point B. And then sometimes you might want a little bit of a dressier shoe, or you want this, but you always end up going back to the comfy stuff, and that's perfectly fine. So I feel like, yes, in that question, there are specific images that invoke feelings or invoke memories in which then you can talk to what we would call the client or the querent in that. So that's what an intuitive reader would do.
So you, before Buddy goes, so you're basically looking at the card, but you're also taking into account what's on the card. Like, in other words, I know that sounds stupid, but you're looking at the card for what it means itself. But then there's also other things that are reminding you of stuff, and they help with the whole vibe of things.
Yes.
Let's call it a vibe.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's right. It's energy. It's a vibe. That's exactly how you would read somebody. You're tapping into their energy, whether you use cards, which are literally like pictures on little pieces of cardstock, or you use crystals, or you use a pendulum, or you use a spirit board. It doesn't matter what the tool is. It's you're effectively giving a message to somebody that may need to hear it from a place that they don't necessarily look to for answers, right? Because we all have kind of intuitive properties and intuition within our own life, right? Don't take that turn, don't buy that shirt. And you're like, gosh, I'm glad I didn't do that because, you know, it wouldn't have fit, it wouldn't have looked good. Or I'm not this wedding and everybody's wearing pink and I would have showed up in a green, like, you know, it just wouldn't have gone, right? So we all have that intuition about ourselves, especially when it comes to people. You know, when you meet somebody, like, you know what, they're full of crap. I really don't want to have a real conversation with that person. Or just like Sin said, I like her, you know, like that is a form of kind of tapping into my energy and being like, on the surface, what I can see, I really appreciate. So that's what we do all the time. So as a reader or as somebody who is a psychic, what we're doing is we're just taking these objects that we use as tools in order to relay an effective message that you're looking for, right? So you might not even realize that you're concerned about your job or your health or, you know, your career in certain places or school or what have you, or your children if you're a parent. And, you know, and that's the first thing that we would kind of pick up on because that's what you're thinking about or worried upon. So that's what I'm saying is that, you know, we might not know that you're concerned about your health or that something has gone on, or if one of your loved ones has recently passed and gone crossed over to the other side. We don't know that, but that's what we pick up on because we read your energy, you know, and whether or not we can effectively give you a powerful, more, you know, thought-provoking reading is based on what we use as a tool. For me, it's tarot cards.
All right. Buddy, you got a question?
I do. So if this, I'm going to try and make this as brief as possible because I'm freezing left and right. So God knows what's going to happen. But anyway, I'll ask. So we stole Sarah from the metaphysical world. She's walked into the metaphysical world 2 or 3 times.
3.
Probably. And
Oh.
This is pretty cool. Look at his face. Oh.
So
buddy,
hold
on a second. You look like Easter Island, but with a beard. All right, continue.
All right, so on a couple of these shows, we had one of our guests was a girl named Missy. She's a dear friend of mine. She was a really close friend of my wife's, and I
2, 3, 4, 5.
I like people like Roland Comtois and Tiffany Rice, and there's been a few others, but I'll ask you the same question. How do you know this shit? You told me things that were so personal, that were so like intricate, that was so like intimate. How do you know this shit? Please subscribe for the show.
Yes, that was a fantastic question.
Right?
I love that. Yeah. So how do I know this shit? I can't tell you. I was born this way. I'm not supposed to know shit about people. And believe me, there are times that I'm like, I don't want to know this stuff. Right. But for what happens is that your wife and, you know, the people that surround you have come forward and talked to me about what's happening. And what I can see in my head is like a movie. They'll show me things. They'll talk about things. And your wife, what a peach she is on the other side as she is here. And like I have said to you before, she's my friend now. So every time I'm in close proximity to one of her loved people, she's, you know, hey, I'm so happy that it's you, you know? And it's kind of like, I couldn't tell you how I know how to do it, but what I can tell you is that the more that I do it and the more that I trust myself, the better I get. And that goes with everybody. Everybody has psychic abilities. Everybody has intuition. You know, it's how you use it and what you trust about yourself in order to go forward with that.
Right. I myself have had my own experiences, both investigating the paranormal and otherwise, that tell me that, yes, this is 100% legit, that this is like, I'm not like mentally ill or something. This is just like how it is. The more you accept it, it seems the more it happens. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You know, like,
you better be clipping this shit, Mike.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to clip that, buddy. I'll tell you that much, because I think if I walked up to like a foul-mouthed like 5th grader, he might say, "How do you know this?" you just like, you took us on and the thing is, you took us on a walk. You had to take us on the professor walk to get us to a 5th grader punchline.
You needed that walk, Mike. You did need it.
All right.
It's
All right.
okay. I wasn't
Yeah.
offended. We're good.
He was like, "Oh, I talked to all these people. Blah, 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 blah. You froze like twice. We waited for you. Oh, and I bet this, that, the other." I want to ask you, how do you know this? He's like, "What? How do I even follow that up?" Sin, go ahead. What a question, please, while I compose myself.
Okay. So when did you first know that you had this ability?
That's a great question. So when I was a little kid, probably like maybe 3 or 4, I thought there were vampires in my room because their spirit would come. Yep. I didn't even read your shirt until right now. But I thought there were vampires in my room because I didn't understand that it was spirit. Some people call it spirit. Some people call it, loved ones. Some people call it, ghosts, whatever you want to say, however you want to say it. But I didn't realize that it was people who had crossed over and that were not alive in my room when I was a kid. And so what I would do is I would pull the covers over my head and say, "Please go away. Please go away. I don't believe in you." And I'd pull the covers down and they would be gone, because what I did was I set my intention. I didn't want to talk to them. Not every medium and not every psychic has this ability to do that, but for whatever reason, it worked that way. So I was probably about 3 or 4 when I recognized that. And then it kind of progressed from there, where I knew stuff I shouldn't have known. People will say like, "Oh, you're an old soul." I'm sure you've heard that term before in regards to certain people. You have an old soul, like, stuff that you shouldn't know. Well, I've always been this way. So what happens is that we get stuck in the society, school and friends, and you don't believe in that stuff because people would think you're a cuckoo clock. So you stop believing in yourself when it comes to that. So you don't necessarily pick that up when you're in grade school all the way through, high school. But then we go through changes. We go through changes in our bodies every 7 to 13 years. And then it happened again. And I was like, what is going on here? I was drawn to tarot cards at 13 years old. 14 years old, I wanted to learn how to do it. And think about it, right? As a woman, captain's daughter, right? Think about that, right? At that moment, you are changing as a person, hormonally, physically, and also mentally. You have questions. Why am I supposed to be doing this? Why am I supposed to be praying before dinner? Why am I supposed to be, why am I supposed to be doing that? We have all these questions. So then we get to that point where we're kind of looking for answers in other ways. So that's when it really developed.
All right. Awesome. Here's a question, though, Sarah.
You got
it. Is it? So it's not my fears of someone that reads cards. It's what I perceive, and I don't know if it's necessarily what someone would call cheating, because I don't think there is a thing called cheating. I think this is actually a gift, and that's that all readers are very perceptive people. Like, they notice people's the body language, clothes they're wearing at the time, their facial expressions. There's like some people can just read people, which, again, that's a gift, but it's like you already can look at somebody across the table and get a feel for them, at least on a base level. Like, you can read them, and then there's certain things where, and I'm not saying you do it. I'm just saying I've seen where a reader will do a lead-in question where they'll pause and let the other person finish, and that to me is like getting information to therefore move on. Like it's just what I watch, because I love watching people do this. So the one I'm telling you about the problems that I have when I see them. Like, it's like, but is that person bad, or is that just the fact that they can read somebody so well a gift in its own right? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yep, I sure do. And you know what really comes to my mind about that? Have you ever seen the show Psych? Remember that show, Psych? It was like on TBS.
Yeah, I was told advertised.
Yes. So that premise is exactly what you described. The person in that show, the lead character in that show, would read people. And so he helped solve crimes. So what he would do is he would pinpoint on certain things and be like, that is why this person is this way, and that there infers what happened to whatever, and so we've solved this case because I picked up what the body language is, what that person said at that moment in time, and it clicks. That has a lot to do with being a skeptic, and being a skeptic is we're human beings. We're supposed to question what we do not know, right? That's what it goes into. We're supposed to. I do it to myself. That's why a lot of readers and a lot of mediums will not read themselves and not do the work when it comes to themselves, because I'm going to be analytical and be like, that doesn't mean what it's supposed to mean.
Yeah, you might not be
that's
honest.
not right. Exactly. So we're human. We're going to, nobody is above anybody when it comes to this craft or this practice. So yes, there are times that I will lead a question because I'm not sure if I'm saying the right thing, or if that topic is too delicate a subject for that person. Do you know what I mean? Plus dealing with people.
You don't want to just.
I do know what you mean.
You don't want to just say,
Exactly.
she's a robust girl. Was she a robust girl? You don't want to say that to the lady, right? You wouldn't say that.
Right. So, if for instance, and Buddy, I'm going to pick you out, and dealing, right, because you can speak to what my abilities are. I don't know a lot about, what had happened to his wife or what transpired within, but what I can tell you is that she's very prevalent in what that she's telling me. So he's right in saying, like, there are details that I'm not supposed to know, but I do. Excuse me.
That would be the other side of it.
Please.
So that would be the other side of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, so check it. So, all right. So there is I guess the good ones have that ability to read people. Like that's Sin, when you agree that's a gift in its own right?
Absolutely a gift.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I think I can do. I can't look at cards, but if I meet someone or I talk to somebody, I can figure them out. But you got a massacre going on upstairs, I can figure out what's going on with them pretty quickly. I get a good grasp on people. Like, I feel like I can do that. Sit down, especially when you sit with somebody. When they're coming to see you, they're coming to see you for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I would feel like I could see the reason on their face, even after a couple of sentences. That's where I'm afraid, because there's ones like you're saying where you use that and what you have to get everything together and do it. When there's some that use that it's night at the improv and they just go that way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think those are the ones in the wash coming out, obviously.
Yes.
Right? But that would be the one blemish, is the people that, I don't know, they did this once and now they can read cards, so sit down and read your cards.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There are, and I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of people in this profession, especially within this community, that do exactly what you described. They will read the person's energy when it comes to what they can pick up on, not what they are trying to help that person. There's a difference. I'm not going to tell you that, you need to pay me $500 so I can light candles for you for, whatever, so that you can get your job back. I'm not going to do that. That's not what this ability is supposed to be used for. However, there are the desperate people who will look to that and say, that person helped me. I paid them $1,000, but they helped me. What this gift is supposed to do is exactly that. It's a gift. I'm supposed to help people have some sort of clarity or affirmation within their life, not to make a ton of money on.
So not prey on the weakness. Not prey on the weakness. You're not preying on the weakness that you immediately see.
Exactly. Because like I said earlier, sometimes that's really sensitive. Sometimes people go through some really traumatic experiences and they're working through it. My role as a reader, as a psychic, as a medium, whatever you want to say, is to help them on their journey. I can't do the work for you, but I can give you some clarity and help you figure out what the next steps are. We all have free will. So if I tell you, hey, this is what's going on in your life, and this is kind of why, and this is what you got to work on, that's for you to take and make it your own, not for me to help you. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the line is really kind of drawn in the sand when it comes to what we do. Because a lot of people, I want my future. I don't talk about future. I talk about what you need to know. You have the key to your future. I don't.
All right. Now, that's the other part that I get a little weird with. Mm-hmm. When you're telling somebody what they need to do, right?
Yep.
I could sit with somebody for about 5 minutes and figure out what they got to go do in their life by even just have a conversation with them. I'm being serious. I don't know if anybody's laughing at, but I mean dead serious. I can, right? But so...
How is it different?
I'm trying to say, no, it's different. I'm just saying it's got to be in other words, your stew has to have that potato in the stew. It's got to be there, right? It's got to be part of what's going on. It's the ability to just read and know, like, because you don't want to say the wrong things. You don't want to let out too much, right? Like if you, and especially I would think if I'm sitting across from somebody and they like had somebody that died in like a massacre, just something ridiculously off the charts. I don't know how many details that I would want to see or know. I don't know how would you handle that, something like that?
So that is very sensitive in nature. And, when it comes to, and I'll give you an example, maybe not massacre for somebody dying, because that is very tragic.
I was aiming high. I was aiming high on tragedies. My bad.
Okay. But, and I'm going to throw it out there because it will make sense to you. People who have lost children, that is so sensitive to talk about. And let me just tell you, what I can see is that I give those parents that have lost their child a little sense of, normalcy within their life, right? For instance, I can give you a little example if you don't mind. I had a woman come to me, and she was, at the time I was doing walk-in clients, and now I don't, but she wasn't planning on coming. She wasn't planning on, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. And before she stepped foot into my office, I had my hair in a ponytail, and this little boy pulled my braid behind me. And there was maybe not even 6 inches from me, the back of my head, to the wall. So I didn't know she was coming. And as soon as she walked in the door, he stood there and said, "Tell her I'm here and that I'm still playing tricks." And I was like, that's what she needed to hear. She didn't want to talk about how he passed away, because anybody could talk about that tragic episode. But what she needed to hear was that he was still bringing joy and laughter no matter where his energy is. And she needed to hear that. Was it sad to her because he's not here? Absolutely. But did she need to hear that moment, hey, your son, what a trickster, he totally like pulled on my hair. Like, who does that, And she needed to hear that. So it wasn't necessarily the downer that everybody thinks that should, would have been, but she needed to hear that little moment of normalcy as best that it could be. Does that kind of make sense?
Wait, but what was the context of when you said that? Like, in other words, what was said before that was said?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So, little boy pulled my hair before this woman walked in the door.
Or she walks in. She sat
down and I said to her, "Your son just pulled my hair. Your son just pulled on my braid." And I didn't know that I needed to say that moment because I felt my hair being pulled, and there's nobody in my tiny little office except me. And I'm like, "You walked in, and that's exactly, tell her I'm here." And he stood on the side of me and said, "Tell her I'm here, and tell her what I did. Tell her what I did."
Now, it's crazy. Did you know she was coming because she lost her child, though?
No. Nope.
Hey.
You're about to blow Mike's mind right here.
Okay,
Mike has a theory about
wait,
kids.
so listen to me, because if you lead with that line and you're wrong,
good
luck.
SOL.
Good luck.
I'm SOL. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that really kind of makes me who I am, is that I trusted what that was. I trusted that little boy. I trusted that voice within my head, because it wasn't my voice, and it wasn't something that I conjured up. It wasn't at all. It was something that I trusted enough to say to her, "Your little boy is here, and he wants me to say that he pulled my hair. And he's still playing tricks, and he's still being funny, and he's still doing all the things." Right? And she looked at me and she's like, "How would you ever have known that?" I wouldn't have. So that being said, right? It happens where that's why I do what I do, because the muscle that it is that I'm using, however you want to look at, keep working on it, and I keep using it. And so it's like you write with your hand, and when you don't write for a while and you don't write long sentences, your hand hurts, right? It's when you use it all the time that it works, and that you don't feel it. Like Christmas cards, signing your name. When you buy a car, buy a house. I haven't signed my name like this in years. It hurts. Your hand is like, oh gosh. But when you utilize that, it works more and it works better. So that's what I trust within myself. It's like a muscle. The more that I trust it, the better it's going to work. The better messages I can pinpoint and tell what they need to be. Because I'll tell you what, that little boy wasn't talking to me for my benefit. He was talking to me so that his mother could hear it. And that's what I trusted and believed within myself, to move that information forward for her.
And that makes a lot of sense. But I'll say this: I don't care how good I was at it. I don't know if I could lead with that. Like even if the little boy sat on my lap and was like smack, 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 I still don't know if I could lead with that. I'm being serious for a bunch of reasons. I don't have the guts, I guess. I don't have the. I wouldn't open with that because that would. I know no matter how it's treated, it's going to be treated very sadly.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
In one way or the other. So that's an opening line where it's like you have to say it, but you know you're about to get. I don't want to say waterworks in a bad sense, but like you're going to get an emotional outburst.
Reaction. Exactly. And that does happen. And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect because I'm a human being. So I'm not perfect. And there have been times that I've received a message and have been wrong about who the person telling me this stuff is, right? So when I kind of tap in and I'm talking to somebody and, you know, a mother figure comes in, my lines are really blurry when it comes to, is it grandmother? Because grandmothers really love us like mothers, right? And then, or if it's a mother figure. So let me just tell you, same for father and grandfather. Sometimes uncles love their nieces and nephews more like a father figure. So that's what I would say. But for whatever reason with this little boy, I just automatically said, he's here. Your little boy is here. And she totally knew what I was talking about. But again, I'm human. So I am trusting this process for it to work. And so, you know, there have been times, like I said, that I'm like, you've got a mother figure here, or you've got a mother, or you've got a grandmother, or you've got an aunt, whatever the case may be. And I have been wrong, you know, because, oh no, my aunt raised me, so that's probably my mother. You know, she passed away young. Like, I don't know these things, but all I can tell you is the energy that I feel when they connect with me on the other side.
So, all right, Sina, I'm going to let you ask a question off this, but that worries me that a weak tarot card reader may have the other person bully them into the conversation to have it go more their way. Like, no, that's not who it is. It's this person. And then you're like, it's not really. But they're like, yeah, it is. And read my cards.
Right.
Sin? Question.
Yes. So changing the subject just slightly, but my EVP member, Chrissy, gave me my first tarot card deck. I have not used them because I don't know anything about them, but I have a deck. She is a collector of decks, and she's got some pretty fancy ones. Are you as well?
Yes. Like I said, they're like shoes.
How many do you have?
I probably have over 100 decks. Now, some of them are just to have in the sense of I really like the artwork, and I will never use them for my own purposes to read other people. And some are, you know, this is another variation of the deck that I love, and I'll reach for that at some point, right? We will all have a great pair of flip-flops we love. Sometimes they're Birkenstocks, sometimes they're crappy ones.
No, we all do not. No, some of us wear socks.
I don't have a pair of Birkenstocks.
No, some of us always wear socks. All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Okay. But you know what I'm saying in the sense of we all have certain things that we like. So maybe you have a variant, a different color. Captain's Daughter. Here we go. That's my dad's favorite beer. I do like it too. But anyway,
it's robust.
It's robust. I love it. I'm going to be saying that word all the time now. So yes, I do have a lot of decks. Do I use them all for the intended purposes? No, but they're nice to look at. They're pretty. So
what is your absolute favorite one to look at? Not necessarily use, but look at.
Oh, so it's called the Gothic Tarot. Do you want to see one? Do you want to see?
Yes.
I have one right here. Okay. So it's show.
Should I play 9 Inch Nails?
You can.
Oh.
So this is the Gothic. Let me see if I can get it right. You know,
Yep.
it's backwards.
Hold
So
on,
this is the
wait.
Gothic Tarot.
That's beautiful.
So it's very dark in nature.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Sin, you have that vampire shirt on? It's very vampire.
I like it.
Yes. So this is actually my favorite card. And this deck, believe it or not, had 2 of these in it. So it was a misprint and I grabbed it and I leave it here on the side because I love it so much. This is not necessarily the energy that I am, but I think it's gorgeous and I love to have it around.
Do they make like an outlaw, like country, like
deck?
deck? Like like with wood, maybe a cattle skull,
Iran.
like with a
You know
rocket
what?
card.
I would not be surprised if they did or not. I bet you they do, but I do not have one like that.
Like a Waylon Jennings.
I was gonna say Waylon
Oh.
Jennings, Willie Nelson,
Yeah.
Johnny
Johnny Cash. They
Billy Joe
probably
Shavers.
do.
Billy
Yep,
Joe Shavers. Right.
They probably do, but I do not have one
Damn
of my very own. And they do a lot of those conceptual decks. There's one that I really wanted to get that I do not have. It's the Starman Tarot. So it's David Bowie.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
I know.
Wait,
I don't have it.
Oh, love
I'm
it.
gonna put it on my Christmas list. So
Wait a minute.
For sure.
Time out.
Yeah.
Starman is Paul Stanley. The star.
No, fuck you, Mike. It's not.
Wait, is he Star Child?
Star
You might be
Child.
right.
Star
All right,
Child.
my bad.
So maybe it is Star Child. Yes,
David
my
Bowie, dude.
apologies that I don't have it. So like I said, but there are conceptual decks like that. There's
There's gonna be a
has
Kiss one.
decks.
It has to
I'm
be a
not
Kiss one.
sure. There has to be.
Oh,
A
there
Kiss
should be a
one.
Led Zeppelin one.
Well, hold on there.
Right.
The insignia, right? So what am I trying to say? See, brain doesn't always connect to mouth, especially as a medium.
Insignia?
You're like, what the heck?
Where did that word come from?
The
Insignia.
Zeppelin symbols.
Yes.
I know what you mean.
So hold that thought. Maybe
Hold the
you can see
phone.
this.
Hold
I'm
the
taking
phone.
this right off my
Hold your
wall
horses.
so
Led
that you
Zeppelin.
can see. You know this guy, right?
Oh, yeah, I know that guy.
Oh, I can't see it at all. On.
Oh, make me big. There we go.
Yeah.
Now this somebody bedazzled it for me.
Wow,
So
that's beautiful.
that's the Hermit, right? You know that Star of David that he holds.
Yeah,
you
buddy.
see
I
him
know
all the
that.
time, right? So
Yep.
this is my birth card. We all have a birth card.
Wow.
And so this is my birth card. It is number 9. So and this is the Hermit. So I love the Hermit, and I also love Led Zeppelin. So you've seen this guy.
I named
Stairway
my
to
dog.
Heaven.
I named my dog Ginny.
I
Payne.
know. I'm very, very much aware. I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely a Zepp fan for sure.
I just got it right now, actually. I just figured out why you named the dog that. I had no idea. No
Jimmy
idea.
Page.
I never put it together.
Oh, look at there it is. There it is. But
I'm a little bit of a fan. Yeah.
yeah. So, and
Great
you know
music.
that Led Zeppelin had a very, very big interest in the occult and Aleister Crowley. So tarot was what we know it to be. In 1909 came out the Golden Dawn, which was another Aleister. It wasn't Aleister Crowley, but it was another kind of group that was influenced by the occult. Came up with the tarot as we know it. So the same time frame. And so you'll see.
Jimmy Page bought the house that Crowley used to live in Scotland.
Yes.
Scotland, I think it's Ireland.
Yes, he did.
We did that. That was my news story on the news. Sin, do you remember that? I talked about it. Like,
yes.
And the thing was, they practice sexual
cult.
Like it just seemed like parties, but like
like orgies.
They were like have at it. I guess I don't know. But then again, the things I heard about Jimmy Page, probably.
Yes.
But
my question is, I wonder if he locked his groupie up in the closet between parties so she couldn't come out.
Perhaps.
Did he do that?
Of course.
He kept the groupie in the closet while he was on stage, so nobody could get to her and different things. Yeah, he had his favorite groupie.
Yes, he did. Lori Maddox.
I thank God I don't watch like behind the music or stuff like that. I never find out about these guys. They're just like, hey, that's so and so. I like your song. I just keep it at that. I mean, the only one is R. Kelly, and that's only because of Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I would have never been like alerted to all that if it wasn't for Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is like one of the people I listen to.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Sarah,
Listen.
I got a question real quick.
Sure.
So you said we all have a birth card.
We do.
How do you know what it is? How do we know what ours is?
So there are 22 major arcana. There's 78 cards in the deck, right? That's a lot of cards. But there are 22.
That's a lot of cards.
That's a lot of cards. But there are 22 major arcana. The cards that you recognize to be tarot cards: Death, the Tower, the Hermit, the Sun, the Moon, the Star. All of those are within that 22. So if you add the digits of your actual birth date down to the lowest that it possibly can be, you will get your birth card. So I was born 11/16 of 1980. That makes me 29 again, right? So if I add those digits down,
That
right?
makes sense.
Exactly.
Add them down? What does add them
So,
down mean?
So you
Subtract?
add them all together. You add them all together. So you can do it 1 + 1 + 1 + 6,
Yep.
right? Then 1980. You can add them all down. If you add them all together, it becomes to the lowest digit that you possibly can go to. I get a 9. Some people would also consider that your life path number, but for me, because I speak in tarot, it is my birth card. So when's your birthday?
All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do mine.
Do it.
You just the math geeks. We all just went nuts on your explanation.
Yeah.
Add it down. It's weird. We don't even know what that means.
We don't know what that means.
Like subtract it up. Subtract it up. Hold on. 09
Okay.
21.
Yep.
19.
Yep.
73.
Wow, 73.
122. So you're a 5. So if you add those digits together,
I get that a lot. You
get a 5. Isn't that average nowadays?
You're a 5.
So you're a 5. So you're the Hierophant. And if you're the Hierophant. He's the guy who looks like a pope. So that card, right? He looks like
the bitch
he's
card.
the bitch. He's the teacher. Okay, so he's the teacher. So what you are effectively doing within your life, and this is only one small facet, right? What you are effectively doing within your life is you are teaching people how to kind of be in a certain way.
Well,
you're not giving all the answers. You're not giving all the answers. You're asking the right questions so that people can make their own educated decisions based on that. So does that make sense to kind of what, and I know in a podcast arena, it's not necessarily your entire life.
No, that's definitely
that's pretty good.
Accurate.
All the ballparks I threw in between. I like that. That was good.
I coached for over 12 years.
There you go.
It's always been like I worked the Boys and Girls Club when I was like 18 and 21.
Let me see if I can
run the gym. I've always tried.
Great guy, despite his New Jersey sports team's affiliations.
All right, let me show you what he looks like. Okay, just bear with me while I look. Is there any other number out there that I can tell you a little bit more about who you are? Sin, do you have your number?
Yeah, 7.
Oh, you're the Chariot, so I'll pull that as well. Okay, this is not my favorite deck, but it's the one that I have close by. So let me get.
Sin, you got a 7. I got a 5.
All right, here you go.
7 is one of my lucky numbers.
Hold on, let me fix this.
Boom. This is the Radiant Tarot. Like I said, it's not my favorite, but it'll do the job today. Just that pair of shoes from point A to point B. So this is number 5, right? See Roman numeral 5 up here? Yep. So this is the Hierophant. And as you can see, it is this gentleman that looks like a pope. You know, he doesn't look like Guido Sarducci, but he does look like a pope. And so what he's doing...
That was good.
There's a drink. Is that an Italian reference?
Yeah. So what he's doing, if you can see, he's pointing to the sky, and he's also kind of like this. So he's teaching these two guys down here without hair, these two monks, a lesson, right? How they move that lesson into their own lives and apply it is totally up to them. So, Mike, that is what you're doing.
But can I tell you a little bit more about what he's doing in that picture? For you,
that's great.
In my opinion, he's holding a golden antenna, right? And he's been trying to he put 2 keys in front of these 2 dolts. He couldn't give them more information if he tried. And in my opinion, he's like, look, there's the keys. I got the antenna. Crown's on my head. Peace. I'm out. That's what I think he's about to do in that picture. He's like, you bald guys, grab the damn keys. What else do you want me to give you? Take them. I'm out.
Yeah. But the keys are the keys of knowledge, the keys to life and death. However you want to look at it. It's keys to puzzles, keys to doors, you name it. But you're giving them the idea that they can make it what they need it to be within their life, right? We go to school. I'm going to learn differently than you. I'm going to learn different subjects than you are. But are we going to get an education? Yes. Are we going to make our lives what we need it to be based on that education? Absolutely. So that's what this is. So that's what you've effectively done for, if you're a coach, if you've taught people, if you've been a docent or somebody that kind of teaches people how to do certain things at work or what have you. That's what you do, and you do it very easily. All right. Does that make sense? Can I go on to Sin or?
Yeah, it actually does make sense, which I don't like.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry that you.
I'm kidding. Totally
I
kidding.
know.
It would be funny though if I said that.
Mike,
right?
take a breath, dude. It's fine.
It's all right.
Take
It's
a
all
swig,
right.
dude.
You wouldn't have me on the show if it wasn't going to be entertaining in some
No.
aspect.
And I'm killing time for you while you look at cards. I mean, that's what I do.
All right, I'm looking for you, Sin.
I
Give
can
me
tell
a
the duck
sec.
joke.
What's the duck joke?
No, it's a little bit longer than
It's a
that.
long joke. Yeah.
I tell you the wife joke really quick. The guy's at the door. Wife packed his bags, and she's about to leave, and she says, "I hope you live a miserable, horrible, terrible life." And the guy says, "So you want me to stay?"
Yep. Yep.
And
I get it.
Sarah. Now, the only word I would have a hard time with is it Gagne? Because I know Gagne's from North Providence. So
Gagne is like the Smith of the French last names. Gagne, which is
Gagne.
Yep. When I met and this is my married name. When I met my husband, he introduced himself as Nick Gagne, right?
Of course.
And then when we got married, he started telling people that his name was Nick Gagne. And I said, "Oh, whoa. We don't change it now. We don't change it now. So it's the Smith of, it's like Sousa, right? Which is, very common in our area, right?
I'm checking the rule book. I got to be honest right now. I'm looking through the rules on whether you can just start pronouncing your last name differently. Like mine's Lepre, but everyone says Lepre because it's Lepre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I would never change the way I pronounce my own name. It's Lepre.
No, I think he was trying to be more refined. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. So Gagne means to win. So it's, that's what a lot of people adopted as their last name. It means to win. I mean, so if you think that, we come from a bunch of winners, then that's what we are. We're not losers, we're winners.
By the way, I'm a guy with the nickname King Michael complaining about names. So it's Sarah Gagne of Le Chat Noir Tarot, or you say tarot?
Tarot. You can say tarot. Yep. You did that perfectly.
Damn you, Michael. Damn you hard.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we get
Buddy,
the card
on the
now.
other hand, yes.
Oh, come on. Buddy had it, and then Mike fucked me all up.
Okay, Sin, here we go. So this is the chariot. You are number 7, right? If you notice, we have these 2 sphinxes down here, right?
Oh.
So what they signify is good and bad, yes and no, dark and light, right? And your trajectory has always been, you toe the line between everything. You know what is good, you know what is bad. You're on a journey that nobody could try to, the right path for you. You know what is good for you. You know what is bad for you. You don't try to make inferences or help people like Mike does. You do it on your own, and you lead by example. If you notice this guy up here, he's all by himself, and he's got like this kind of this, I don't know if they call it a pergola at that point, but he's got this canopy above him with stars. You have a right path in front of you based on the cosmos. You trust and believe that you're supposed to do what you are currently doing, and you're going to follow that direction. You don't veer towards the side for very long, and you don't go towards the other side for very long. You kind of right yourself, because if you didn't, you would be in this big circle, right? So what we do is we see this and we say, you have this very fluid motion of where you're going, very direct path, and you trust your own process of that. There are other things that we can look at within that card, but the black and the white, you like to stay nice and even keel. You don't like to get too worked up about certain things. You really, if it's good for you, it's going to work for you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of a thing. So that is a 7, and you've kind of lived your life this way. Whether or not you've experienced trauma on either side, you're like, I'm not going to let that affect me. I need to be in my own path. I need to stay in my own lane. So that's the 7 there. That's the chariot.
Cool.
Sin?
Does that make sense to you, Sin?
Absolutely. As I'm surrounded by stars and everything cosmos around me. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Can I tell you what I would read the card as?
Oh, here we go.
I would love. Do you want me to show you again so you can pick things out?
Yeah.
Let me show you.
So I'm going to say that for some reason, Sin, you set up shop outside the castle. Right, it's like you don't want to work in there, so you gave up the easy path to go work inside the castles, which look beautiful. Instead, you're outside with your 2 dogs, 2 cats, whatever you want to call them, of different colors.
Cats.
All right, whatever. There's a Red Cross sign with the angel wings, which means to me you would be helpful to both, to anybody. You're open to both sides of a conversation. You're willing to do your own thing because you're outside the damn castle. You're not where the rich people are. You're outside, and you're all dressed up as if you're rich because it's the same thing to you, and you're just doing it there. That's exactly what I would tell you about the card.
Okay, so you read
It's kind
tarot
of the
now.
same
Okay.
thing.
You
I mean,
read
it's
tarot,
kind of the same
by the way.
thing.
Yep.
King
By the
Michael
way-
Tarot.
Yep, he sure does. You just read tarot, by the way. That's exactly because what you picked out were things about the card that made sense to you so that you could tell Sin about it. And so you just effectively read her birth card. Fantastic.
Wow.
Good job. Mhm.
Mike, you're amazing.
I don't know what I did.
He's like, I don't like you now at all.
I don't. I don't know what I did. See, that's the thing. Like, what I just did was I just read. You just read the card as if Sin. You get what I'm saying? Like you just pick up on little things. Does that make sense, Sin? Help me out, Sin, before I. feel like I'm going crazy.
Yes. Except when you said dogs, because you know I'm a cat person.
Mm.
But
So,
you
I
probably
mean,
would have corrected me. Yeah.
yeah, I did correct.
I could be
you.
the dumb tarot card reader, right? I'll be the
You
old
could very
dumb
well
one,
do that, Mike. Yes.
and then I'll just slowly talk to people, right, and let them talk over me, and then I can be like, oh, maybe it is cats. You know what I mean? And just be like,
Yeah.
you know, slow delivery. I think I could do that if I did that type of tempo.
You could. You could.
Hey, you wanna
but,
see the old
you
guy?
know, it scratched the surface. What you just did was effectively read the card. And that's what you do. And so if you can read one like that, who's to say that you couldn't read all 78 like that?
You know, what you could do. You could whatever you charge, you could make it like a quarter of the price, and you could be like, "Well, we're busy, but you can go see the old Italian guy." I was like, "Yeah, sit down," and I'll only drink the little Miller highlights, like the old little ones that don't get warm. The old Italians would have. I'll have the authentic like handkerchief in my pocket that they used to take it off. All that stuff. Oh,
Wipe it
God.
off. Yeah. You could.
Just the gimmick alone, and you can't promise anything about the reading. Is he good? You go, that's all you guys are allowed to say. And I'll just go, get over here, sit down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, people who are looking for guidance are going to look in any sort of direction that makes sense to them. So if the Italian guy with the little beers are going to tell them something about their life, they might listen to that.
Yeah, well, that's what the bars were for. That's what bars were for. You then eventually meet somebody who tell you something, a story or something. You go, holy shit, that's a great story. Oh my God. That was called, that's back when people used to interact. You remember that? When people used to interact? Oh,
yes.
Interaction was fun, wasn't it? When you would go out and interact with people. Amazing. What you could learn by talking to somebody. It's amazing. Oh, we just scared.
Oh no.
Yeah, she put up a photo.
She put up like a photo where like she disappeared. And she's got a magician hat on in the photo.
I could have photo
it. That's better than I would come up with. So guys, let me ask you two this. When you look at a tarot card, are you looking at the details too? Like what? Like, do you kind of do that in your own head?
They all kind of pop out. Yeah, you want. It's like a story. It's like telling a story almost.
Yeah.
But Sin, like going over it, when you looked at the card, did you think the same thing in your head, basically, somewhat? Or no?
I saw the cats at my feet as the number one. That I didn't.
You didn't pick up on the fact that you were outside the castle doing your own thing?
I did not pick up that I was outside. No, I knew there were stars and everything around, but no, I did not pick up that I was outside, Mike.
Yeah, I picked up like 4 or 5 things, like just because they're like, yeah, that's different. That'll make it, yeah, that's somewhat. Well, and the thing is,
it was a lovely background too, by the way.
Do what?
It was a lovely background, like the whole,
it was.
The blue with the little gold.
Hey, buddy, you're freezing and the guest got dropped. You might want to unfreeze and resend her the link just in case. So she just yeah, just make sure. Or if she can't make it back on, tell us what she wants us to plug before we end it.
She's coming back, Mike. She's coming back. So
perception is the word I'm looking for, I guess. It's how people perceive, like how perceptive people are on certain things. Like especially if you see it quickly. I think I'd be worried that I would be good at people that I know. Because if I already know a little bit about somebody, that would be rough with me. I think I'd be able to read.
That's where you got to watch it, I think.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what
That's all right.
happened. I just got kicked off. There we go.
Buddy's problem drips down sometimes to the lower left square.
Well, I'm glad I could get right back on. I was like, I'm coming back.
So what we were saying was there's a lot of perception, like how you perceive everything. Like so I guess I'm not wrong in saying that, like reading their face, reading the body language, reading everything. By the way, I've been watching a lot of interrogation YouTube videos. Like I just wormhole on those for hours. And people say the dumbest things. They say the dumbest things. How do you not say, "Can I have a lawyer?" Just immediately. I don't. You know what? If I could pull in and I knew I didn't do it right, I would still say, "I'm not telling you a word. Get me a lawyer," because these people are idiots. Oh, I'm sorry. Back to what I was saying. You're reading people like an interrogation in the sense of body language, what they're saying, what they repeat, how they react when they say something, like how their body drops, how it moves with different words. This is just what goes on in my head. I don't want to speak for everybody, I guess. So I'm speaking for the dumb. I read everything on that. So is that part of, help me with this. This is part of that, right?
It can be. It can be. Like I said, we're human beings. So if I'm invoking emotion in you, then I want to make sure that it's registering in a way that you can understand it, right? So again, something as traumatic as losing a partner, Buddy, I'm going to pick on you again. And Heather came through to your friend Missy because Missy needed to hear some of those things. So we did the podcast with Auntie Dale, and I had said, I know that some of the things I'm saying is affecting you and making you feel emotional, and I don't want to do that in this forum. So instead, why don't you come and see me? Because I could feel that and also see that she was getting a little bit, I can't believe that this is happening, so to speak. So yes, we read body language, but we don't read it for the intent to continue the conversation for our own benefit. We read it because we want to effectively give that person the messages or the experience that they need. Doesn't benefit us. Right. With the interrogation, with interrogation, they want a benefit. They want the information. So they want the benefit. So they're going to pick apart every, tick or twitch or whatever that person is doing. We do that. We look at that, but we're doing that because we want to make sure that this is the experience that person needs to hear at that moment in time. Not that we need it. Because we don't.
You speak about Missy and her time on the show, and then her time after the show. I heard it was very emotional. Missy is one of five sisters that Heather referred to as like sisters in her life, and she was one of four that we've had on. There's one that hasn't been on the metaphysical world yet that I hope to bring on. She actually lives on Block Island, and I hope that she has some sort of interaction because. I mean, what Missy had with you is, I've seen all of them, and that was probably the most accurate and most like intimate things that you could say to somebody on air. Then you shared with her afterwards, and that was probably the best out of the four of them. So I mean, that was awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So here's the thing, Buddy's wife is very powerful at reaching out to Buddy, like. That's something that I noticed from afar. Like she stays in contact with him. And that always makes me glad that he had a good marriage. Because if he didn't like her, holy crap.
Oh, imagine that. Italian too, Mike, so
imagine that though.
You can imagine.
Imagine that. The old guys when they finally lose if they lose their wife, they're like, oh God, yeah. Imagine if she came back and you didn't want her back. That'd be secondly, I'm sorry, it was just a bit of a joke. Secondly, the weirdest experience I've ever had with a medium would be Roxanne Desparo on Block Island. She has an uncanny, really odd ability to just read someone, read the mind, read things, and she's good at it, and she's scary good at it. So I was challenged. See, my issue is that for some stupid reason in my head, I think that water is a conduit for me. Like I always feel like that when I'm in the because I write stuff in the shower, written a book, write songs, but like I'm always in the shower, it's like my favorite time. And then in the rain, it's the same sort of thing. It's weird. But anyways, she told me to try sending her something mentally, see if she could receive it. And I did as a joke. Like in my head, I'm like, it doesn't work. You know, I'm going to do it just to do it. I'm going to come up with something stupid. But I really tried. Like I figured if I really try on my end, right, then there's no excuse for me. I didn't just like say it, and I tried. I thought about it, right. Now, for some reason, whenever I think, I close my eyes, it gets more yellow, white, like when I'm thinking stuff. And then for some reason, sometimes the white will just leave, and I feel like in my dumb head that it's left my body. So about an hour goes by, and she texts me exactly what I said. And I'm like, I was so angry. Like, you think that I'd be happy and excited? No. It was anger. It was like, oh, fuck. I'm like, no. Like, I didn't want, like, no. Like, you know what I mean? I felt like I was just about to fall down the slide, you know? But that happened. Yeah. And that was freaky.
It does. And I mean, that is definitely a gift. I have met her on occasion, but I've never experienced a reading from her. So I couldn't speak to that, but water is absolutely a conduit. And for a lot of people, water washes things away as well as conducts certain things. You know what I mean? It makes you feel better. It cleans all of your, I'm not going to say sins, but I don't know why that word came.
You can say that. You can say that. Yeah, right? You can say that.
Cleans everything that you're supposed to, but as well as kind of manifesting what needs to go forward for the rest. It's like setting the tone. Right?
Well, it baptizes too, right? So I mean,
yes, exactly. So it sets the tone. So of course it's a conduit. I mean, I'm a water sign, so I'm a Scorpio. So when I am having a rough day or I'm not feeling my best about something, or if I'm upset, the first thing I do is take a shower. And usually it's one of the really long showers where you deep condition your hair and you do all the things, right? Yep. But I mean, it makes me feel better because it sets the tone of what needs to happen going forward. So water is absolutely a conduit. But I think that the telepathy of what you experienced with that specific reader, you know, that is something that is very powerful. It just means that the connection between what you have and what she has can kind of make this point of getting together and joining. So, you know, you just read some tarot here, and then you experienced some telepathy. I would absolutely give you a little bit of clarity when it comes to your own psychic abilities and say, you got some psychic abilities.
What scared me was I didn't think that like she just pulled it from my head and did 100% of the labor.
Nope.
I felt like I threw it.
Yep.
And she caught it. Yes. And I'm not saying she didn't run up to catch it. I'm just saying I threw it and it got caught. That's all I know, right?
Yes. Because you actively made the decision to do what she was asking of you. You could have been one of the skeptics, like, yeah, I'm going to give her some crap answer that's not going to make sense, and it's not going to, you know, I'm just going to test her. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, all right, well, tell me what color I'm thinking of, or the good one that is, you know, you're a psychic, you should already know that. No, I don't. And I don't want to talk about the color you're thinking of, because I don't need to be tested by myself, and I don't need to be tested by anybody else. I trust what I have. So, and that's not something that is worthwhile for anybody, you know.
That's just like when they go tell a joke.
Right. And you're like,
I'm not, what? Like usually I'm like, I'm not prepared to tell you a joke. It's a little uncomfortable to just tell someone a joke. But usually I'll tell a joke. I'm most likely to tell it.
Well, you'll find one somewhere. And usually I make a guess at a color. You know, I'll be honest. Yeah. Because
red.
Red's a good one. Yeah, red's a good one. But you know, you feel that people are very skeptical of what that you can produce and who that you are, especially if it is in the context of telling a joke or giving them some information about themselves. And, you know, you want to provide as best that you can because you don't want people to think that you're not funny or not doing your job or what have you. So we just kind of go with it. But I think that what you did was you actively made this decision, or you sent your energy out as a concerted effort so that she would catch it and understand and kind of process it and give it back to you. So there is a connection there.
Yeah, it's strange.
Strange.
Good, buddy.
I'm sorry. I get a quick question. Sarah, as an investigator, this has happened to me before. As I've worked with mediums, it's happened to them where oftentimes you not only hear a voice or you see a spirit, you can smell them. You have their scent or the perfume that they used. Or if they were a smoker, you can smell that cigarette smoke. Or you can feel their emotions. Can you speak anything about this? Have you ever had that experience?
Yes. So there are many different clairs, which I'm sure that you've heard of the word of clairaudient, clairsentient, or overall clairvoyant, right? Clairvoyant means to see in the way that we can see certain things that we shouldn't. I see that apparition, or I totally see that person standing there and they're not supposed to be there. Or you smell certain things, or you can taste certain things, right? Especially if that person was a smoker, or if they drank a certain thing, or if like I said, no, that's okay. You know how we talked about my grandmother's roses, that kind of, like, my grandmother didn't really have roses, but you'd be able to smell that when I think of her, that kind of a thing, right? So perfume. Lilacs, perfume, of course.
Old lady perfume smell like roses.
Sometimes it did, right? Or this is a good one, which you'll totally understand. If they made a certain thing, like I can smell that lasagna in the oven. I can smell that brajol. I can smell that gravy. It smells so good, right? Yeah. Or if it's like I can smell the dryer sheets or the what she smelled like on her person.
Or that one particular kind of perfume that she used. Like it's unbelievable. As an investigator, it's happened to me.
Yes.
Well, I'll smell a perfume in my face and then the other guy's face and it happens multiple times, and there's no perfume in the room, and it never stops blowing my mind,
Isn't it crazy? But that being said, not only can you see, you can hear, which you didn't kind of make mention of. You can hear that person saying your name, or that person. And yes, we do have spirit boxes and EVPs and things like that, which register the decibels that we as humans cannot hear. Which kind of brings me to this situation, which would make sense for Ginny Page, is that animals can sense things that we dumb humans cannot. Right?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
You'll see that dog barking in the corner, and you're like, what are you barking? Who are you looking at? What are you talking to? Babies have the same, like younger children and infants, as well as people who are transitioning to the other side. So people who are going through the end stages of their life will often say, babies can't, but those people who are transitioning, they will often say, I saw your grandfather the other day. He was sitting in the chair next to me. And you're like, my grandfather's been dead for 30 years. What are you talking about? Right? It's because we're open to things. When we're stuck in that dumb human side that we are all in right now, we can't see and smell and hear and taste and talk and whatever about all of those things.
It just come through in blips.
It does come through in blips. And the whole thing is that as a paranormal investigator, you are trusting that that is not your own brain. That is not something that you thought of. It is something that's happening around you or in the universe that you can speak to and be like, my name's not Blake, but I just heard Blake and I'm standing next to this headstone that says Blake, blah, blah, blah. Right. And you're like, whoa.
Right. Or you get like the last place we investigated is Ocean State Paranormal. We investigated a banquet hall, I can say. And the banquet hall has been open for over 100 years. And it's a staple here in Rhode Island. And under the bar, there's like names carved. There's hundreds of names that are carved of people that work there. And one of the names is this guy's named Earl. And Earl was a clear EVP that they had in the banquet hall of this place. And it's just, when I played it for them, they're like, oh my God, that's Earl. They refer to the ghost there as Earl. And there's Earl under this. It's just absolutely phenomenal. The connection that you can find like through the years with the stuff. It's it never ceases to amaze me.
Right. But smelling and tasting and hearing, as well as witnessing and seeing these things that happen in paranormal
feeling their emotions.
Yes. Or you get the hot and the cold spots. You'll be like, whoa. Yep. And then you can trust that the reason that you're there to investigate is exactly what's happening. So, having a medium and say, yeah, you're absolutely right. There is somebody that's standing and touching you and you feeling that touch on your shoulder. Okay, great. And that's validation. there. And so that investigation is then successful because you found what you were looking for, right?
Yep.
Sin, would you like to ask a question before I make a comment about what Buddy just said?
I was
Refer to me?
about to.
All right, listen.
I actually do have one. I actually do have one. Yeah.
Right,
So suppose someone resets their aura. They do everything they can to wipe away anything that you could read when they go in to see you. How much harder is that for you as a real psychic medium?
So what happens in there if they try to reset, which can never really happen? It can never happen. We cannot reset to ground zero. It just doesn't work. There's always going to be some underlying thing that happens. And if they're coming for some sort of message or a reading or anything of that nature, the energy that it might not even be their energy, but we are surrounded with people that leave stuff on us all the time. If you have children, if you work with other people, if you whatever the case may be, you're going to carry some of the burdens that are not yours. And that, in fact, could be part of the reading. I can't tell you how many parents that come in that I'll read a whole little bit about, or, a general portion about their children in their reading. And they don't live with their children, they haven't been around their children, whatever the case may be, but it's still information that is very pertinent to them because they carry that energy of those people around you. So if you say that they're going to reset their energy to come in as a blank slate, there is no such thing, unfortunately. You pick up stuff as you go along, and the family members that you have, that especially who have passed, are not going to see that energetic reset. And they're just going to come through anyway. And I have to say that sometimes if there's not a family member or a loved one that has passed that needs to come forward for messages for you, that sometimes it can be pets. Sometimes it can be, and that's a really touching moment when I connect with people's animals, because we don't think that we see them anymore once they go, and we're only blessed to have them within our lives for a really short amount of time. So I love doing that. Oh, there's a dog here. Or, oh, the kitty cat is right by your side, right? Or sometimes there's a bird. You never know. So that kind of information is really great to kind of pass along as well. But you're never energetically cleared. It just can't happen, if that makes sense to you. Did that kind of answer your questions then?
Absolutely, it did. Okay. Yes.
Can I go with my notes real quick?
Yeah.
Because I've been writing stuff. I write stuff on. I write on colored construction paper with only Sharpies.
Boy,
so okay. All right. Are you like Roland Comtoy?
No. I would.
No,
like
he's not like Roland Comtoy.
I know.
You could actually call me the Dollar General version of him.
Okay.
Like if you took it and made it so that I'm on the street handing people construction paper, and they don't want it, that'd be more like it. I wrote that you love animals. I love the fact that, because I'm such a dog guy. I have 2 dogs. My newer dog, the guy, I feel like I was supposed to rescue him because he was bought, given back, and when they go pick him up, he was just so stupidly big for a puppy. His forearms were this long. I called them dumb puppet arms for a while because he couldn't look it out a window. He would put his paws out there and his head be way back here. Hilarious. He's like 100 now, 50 pounds. He's a moose. One of the biggest dogs. And most people could not handle him.
Big lap dog. He's like a big lap dog.
Oh, God, he lays on me at night. I woke up, he was spooning me. You don't get it. I'm like, this is not right. I had a paw over my arm, my shoulder. I'm like, this ain't right. At least, you know what I mean?
I do.
I wrote, Sin, you would be outside with the cats while everyone's inside with dogs. Right. I wrote for Buddy 2 things. 1, what is better, recordings or live experiences for a ghost investigator?
That's a good one.
What is?
I mean, live is good too, but I mean, like, recordings is like the bread and butter of what I do. So
I would say I would be more appreciative just lives.
Live is great, but I mean, like, you can't make them produce live on camera.
No, I get that.
Recording, period, all day.
What I'm saying is I would take the live experience over a film recording. of getting something on film. Like if it really was a live experience, I think that would, to me, am I wrong, Sin?
But you better hope you have a camera catching it.
No, that's why. So, all right. So let me just lay this out, because I've been getting this from a couple people. And it was funny that someone actually questioned me as to why I was asking questions. I am not a paranormal investigator, right? That does not mean I do not know what I'm talking about. There's a big misconception, right? Just because I don't want to go sit places for hours doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. So I say that because, buddy, like, I see it differently than you do, a lot of those things. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, if I'm going to go someplace, I always remember moments better than I've ever remembered pictures, if that makes any sense. Like, even I have band photos all around me when I was in the band. Like, we were in front of a couple hundred people. Like, I remember being there. I look at photos and I have no recollection of who even that is and what's going on in that photo. Does that make sense, Sarah?
Yeah, it can. I think that the whole portion of recording it is so that you can live it again in a live it again in a certain way, but also that you can pick other things up about it that you did. It's like a movie, right? Everybody's got a favorite movie, and I could watch, my favorite movie since I was a kid was The Wizard of Oz. I could watch it a million times, and I could pick out different things about the movie that I like at different points in my life. So I think that if you are at a live setting, you experience it different, and in your memory, that's what you capture. Right? Yeah. Whereas if you had a live recording of it, you're like, oh my God, did you hear that? Oh, wait, did you hear that? Oh, what about this? Did you see that? So you get to kind of live the experience in different kind of ways as you revisit and listen to it or see it.
I just see myself as a different style of person because, like, in other words, like I even when I was doing music, I never like to go back and listen to what we just did or what we heard. I'm always trying to go do something else. Let's play this. Let's do this song. Let's try that. And that hurt probably things because you should go back and review, right? That's a smart thing to do. I'm not saying what I'm doing is the smart way to do it. I just always would want to be like, let's just keep going until it works. Like I like doing podcasts live. I don't like to record podcasts because then you don't get the real answers from people, or you don't get, like, it just gets weird. But anyways, so all right, I also did Sin. I was for some reason I wrote down that the best you can do is get a little bit better, or at least get a starting point, as opposed to wiping everything away. The best you can do is at least, like, when you're talking about wiping things away, like getting the whole the idea of washing the sin away, like the whole idea of the shower.
Okay. Now I'm with you.
I wrote the best you can do is get a little bit better, or at least get a starting point. Like at least like learn something that'll make you go one way and change it. Like I don't think you can just wash it away. I think you get either a starting point to go figure it out, or maybe a little.
I think you're talking about two different things.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not. No one understands what I'm saying, but I know what I'm saying. Like I'm saying, you can't wash away complete sin, right? Not your name, SIN, in a shower, right? The idea of that doesn't just wash away. Cleansing.
I see what
cleansing.
You're saying.
I'm sorry.
When
you're talking about being cleansed, right? You wanted to be cleansed of whatever's going on, and she said you can't just get better. It doesn't just come off. I would think the best that you could hope for is to get a little bit better from it, right? To get a better understanding of what's going on with you, or maybe get something that's a starting point to where things will change and you'll get better.
I see what you're trying to say.
It doesn't make any sense, does it? But
no, because what I was saying is I was asking her if someone reset their aura and, went into a meditative state, fixed their energy, and just tried to wipe everything clean for like the last 48 hours of what they had dealt with. If they came in, would they be a little harder to read? That's what I was asking.
And Sarah, you said about the other point, which I made my point just off. Do you understand what I said,
yes,
Sarah?
Yes, because what he's saying is that as your name is sin, you couldn't wash yourself away. You would wash yourself only to have a different point to start, right? Am I right, Mike?
Start all over again.
Yeah. So let's say, right? So here you are in the shower. You've done your hair, looks great, right? And you get in the shower and it's all wet, and you have to start over from that point when you get out. Do you know what I'm saying? So we could never wash you away entirely. We'd have to always just use it as that starting point. So, but I get it. I get it.
You know what? She's amazing, Buddy.
Yeah, I think she's a great job.
Buddy's so unhappy right now that it's unbelievable. She's amazing. Let's go around the horn to wrap it up. Sin, what would you like to say to wrap up?
All right. So, Sarah, enjoyed you so much. And a lot of what you're talking about is what I'm looking for my book sequel. So if anybody has a story of near-death experience, loved ones coming back, leaving signs, dreams and visions of your loved ones, deathbed conversations, pets coming back, please, please, please send them in to me, and I'll be happy, more than happy, to put them in my sequel to It's Not Goodbye, Signs from Beyond.
I think that's amazing.
Reach me at SenShraderHillAuthor@gmail.com.
Bam.
Shrader Hill Author. Gmail.
Yeah.
Buddy, what do you got?
Oh God. Number 4. This is number 4, right? So, Sarah, awesome as always. The last 3 times were absolutely amazing. This time was absolutely amazing. I could continue to pick your brain, but I could continue to fuck up the name of your tarot. So I'll just let you say it at the end of the show. Tune in. Friggin'.
You are a defeated man right now.
Come to Block Island, see Sarah live in person. She'll be doing a gallery reading for us on July 22nd on Block Island, where Mike can tell you the details, and you can buy tickets or online, or you can go and see her and take the ferry on over. It'll be a great time. Join us live tomorrow night as we have, what was it? Legit Fear Flicks and Legit Compass of Curiosities. Tuesday night is a further walk into the legit metaphysical world as Auntie Dale brings in one of the most amazing paranormal investigators of all time. This guy is like completely legit. Tune in to find out who at 8:05 live on Tuesday. We do the news on Wednesday. We do, what else we do, Mike?
You don't have to. You're good. You're good.
We do all this good stuff. The clip show, we got people coming on next week. So tune in some great investigative clips. And next week live on Legit Paranormal live at 7:05. This is like 2.5 years in the making. This guy was supposed to come on 2 years ago. We've been adding him as like a guest every week and to our posts. And now he's finally going to show up on the show. Dave Spinks, paranormal investigator and UFO guy and Bigfoot guy and ghost guy. He'll be tuning in live next week at 7:05 for Dave Spinks, finally on Legit Paranormal.
All right.
Lord.
Sarah, what would you like to say to wrap up? Anything coming up? Websites, anything like that?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you guys for having me, because this was a really great time. And I love talking anything when it comes to, the metaphysical, tarot, mediumship, you name it. I'm here to help. That's what it's all about. You can find me on the Facebook, on the Instagram at Le Chat Noir Tarot. How about that, right? So the Le Chat Noir just means the black cat, as you can see. Sin, I see your
yes.
I got them everywhere. I got them everywhere. Le Chat Noir. So you can reach out to me on those 2 platforms. I will be on Block Island. There'll be some other events that will be posted on my Facebook page. But yeah, that's really, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me. And let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. So I wrote some more notes. Oh boy, but I'm probably not going to bring them up. It was, but you made it sound like it's MC Hammer that's coming on the show. Like, wait, I'm being dead honest. You got to use the word legit correctly. Too legit. You get that too much.
Too legit.
Remember? Yeah, we're doing it.
I can do it, but we all go downhill from there. The net always goes downhill from there.
Somebody's going to get sued, Mike.
So, Sarah, enjoyed it tremendously. I love starting a conversation somewhere and then ending somewhere. Like that to me is more interesting. You get information out of somebody, but you also figure out who they are, what's going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I love dogs too. I have this theory that all dogs and kids go straight to heaven, but people fight me on that. I believe that though. And then I'd like to say Block Island is going to be a lot of fun. Just that Saturday alone, there'll be ghost tours. Sarah, you'll be there. I'm going to do about maybe 20 minutes of jokes, maybe a little bit more if I can stretch it.
Just leave your troubles
I'm looking forward to honestly doing. I can't wait to do this because what I'm going to do is I'm not only going to tell jokes, but I'm going to give people jokes that they have to read out loud. Oh, the pleasure. I can't wait.
It's going to be an interactive experience.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Make sure. And I'm just going to hope and pray that the wrong people get the wrong jokes. So, that's my goal. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it ends up. But check out blockislandghosttours.com, blockislandghosttours.com to come hang out with us in July. It's the 21st, I believe, through the 23rd. What else? Oh, next Thursday's show, Legit Paranormal 101. Shane Hurd is returning from MUFON. And I'm going to have Shane tell me, this is my question. I already know what I'm asking this guy because it's a 101 show. So if I decided I wanted to learn real information about what's going on with UFOs, where would I go? Where would I look? Who would I talk to? This guy should know the real stuff, right? Keep me out of the Star Trek section. Keep me moving forward. I'm trying to figure it out. Right? So let's see how it goes with that. Sarah, thank you so much. We're going to have a blast on Block Island. Like, you have no idea how much fun Block Island is. Like, that's the thing you don't get. It's a blast.
Oh, I cannot wait.
So I'll do the wrap up and pray I do this correct. For Sarah Gagne of Le Chat Noir Tarot, for Sin Shrader Hill, author, gmail.com. For Buddy Money Thayer, it's me, Mike Larry King, Mike Ellis was Legit Paranormal, brought to you by Legit Podcast.com. We have 2 shows tomorrow night. We thank you for tuning in and